lot of literature, a lot of writing that has been done on this concept. As a matter of fact, there seems to have been a whole movement, especially in the US, around tiny homes. Is that something that you have researched and done some study on? And maybe you can tell our viewers a little bit about the history of tiny homes and its evolution as far as the Western world has seen.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gone too deep into the history, but I do know that, you know, the basic need for shelter, as far as man is concerned, has always been of great priority, because the need to protect themselves from outside forces. And if you look at primitive man, he used to live in a cave out of no other option, because he was yet to develop technology. Then you start looking at the early shelters in Africa, or if you start looking at the yurts that the Mongolians made to protect themselves, and go as far as North Pole and look at the igloos, it was all made out of natural materials around them. It wasn't made out of too many high-tech materials. It was actually very, very simple natural materials. And coming now, fast forward to the 20th century, or rather the 21st century, I think the movement is more out of concern. I mean, it's multifold, of course. One is, if you just look at the costs that we pay for, if you have to afford a home today, right? It's phenomenal. And if you look at the environmental impact that we have of building, we actually are responsible for 40 to 50% of the world's climate change, pollution that we cause out of our building industry. And I'm not sure we're doing too much about that. You know, we're still not so concerned. Commerce dictates everything, but you know, there is a considerable harm that we're doing to our environment. So most of the people who take to this concept, and it's a very small percentage of the world, but it's a fairly large percentage in terms of enough for an industry to thrive on, right? So it's only the 1% of the world that, or rather 1% of maybe people in the US that sort of subscribe to this. And it's been only in the last, say, since the time, you know, there was the last recession around 2007, because the average home in the US is almost 1,600, 1,700 square feet. And everyone in the US basically takes a loan to build, to actually acquire a home. And it's almost like in India. So for your entire lifetime, you are sort of a slave to that loan, because there's no other way. You have to work really, really hard to pay that loan back. And that's the system been set by the government. But most people who choose to live in these tiny homes, they are actually people who have decided to disrupt this whole system, and have decided that they don't want to have loans. They want to have a much more free life, so that they can make their own choices. And of course, concern for the environment is the other reason why people have now started. There's a clear movement, right? There's also the whole thing about getting approvals on you know, properties that are not easy to get approvals on. Maybe it could be close to a forest area. Maybe it could be close to a CRZ area, right? So you know, those are the main reasons why this sort of you know, revolution is now in place, and it's here to stay, because building a home is more and more expensive. Um, there are more and more people who are environmentally conscious, and more people want to have adventurous lives rather than have lives that are very typical. But I wouldn't say yet that everyone's first preference is to have a tiny home. I would say most tiny homes in Europe or even in the US are more like second homes to people, not first homes to people. And they are extensions to homes. Uh, Try and build something really small.